Hello, everyone. We're back again. Yeah, less than 24 hours. How about that? A little house cleaning, as always, on my videos. Get out what's going on. Because, like I said, these videos, you know, I can make these videos, daily if I want to. Because, for one, um, I know what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. So it really doesn't need a lot of research on my part. Um, but first, let's do the house cleaning. This video comes from, well, actually it comes from the chat, but that's the second point I want to get. The first point I want to get is this video is going to be different than the others because this is the second video in the learning series. This is the ARP video, the ARP protocol. I don't know how much of it we're going to cover. This could be a three-parter. It all depends on what I want to do and how the people react in the chat when we're done, because we got 15 protocols we need to cover in this part before we move on to other stuff in networking. Um, so I got I might decide to combine two protocols in one video, or who knows? I might put a poll up in the Discord to see what people want to do with that. But the learning series are going to be like a week or 2 weeks apart for the videos. But like I said, there will be other videos, and this is where the second part comes up. Uh, a few of my members in there, want to learn reverse engineering malware or reverse engineering in general. If you learn reverse engineering, it doesn't matter what it is. If you learn how to reverse engineer anything, well, it's going to apply to malware. It's going to apply to software. It's going to apply to everything. DLLs, um, you know, Linux files, everything. So the whole point is, it's not you need to learn to reverse malware. No, you just need to learn how to reverse engineer. That's all. And yes, Linux and Windows are different, and that'll come up in the reverse engineering. There's a source and a destination in the registers. Where the assembly stores a value and then sends it to a destination. And one of the things that differs in Linux and versus Windows in assembly is those registers are flipped. You have your op code, and like I said, we'll get in. You guys have learned all this terminology, but you have your op code, which says what your command is, but it's done in hexadecimal, and that tells you if it's a jump or a call or what the command is going to be. And then you got your uh, your second columns, which could be anything. It could be a register, it could be, and you'll see that. But you got your op code and your call, and then or I don't want to. I want to use the terminology, but you guys don't know what it is. So I stop myself every time I try to say something. But all it is those are flipped on on Windows. The source is on the left, and the destination is on the right. If you're reverse engineering a Linux program, it's reversed. The source is on the right, the destination is on the left. And why? Personally, I don't know why, but I'll explain to you why it is when we get to the reverse engineering. But it still doesn't make sense to me. But oh well, what are you going to do? I'm not the one that programmed or designed it or anything. So, but we will cover that and this regex that you guys are looking at. You might be wondering why we're on ARP. Why are we looking at a regex? Well, this is how I find my malware to reverse engineer. And this malware is going to lead to a Wireshark capture, um, getting this malware. And that's going to have ARP in it, and it's going to have other protocols in it, like a browser protocol and STP. And these protocols kind of do the similar thing that ARP does, just for different devices in a different way, and some of them in different locations in the network. Because remember, you have your local network, your LAN, which is basically in your house, and that's where ARP operates on, not just in your house, but even for the ISPs. ISPs, have ARP operates with them on every sub network. Now, the traffic on the internet is different. ARP, you won't see ARP a whole lot because on the internet, device discovery, and that's all ARP is a device discovery thing. It sends out an ARP reply, an ARP message, it gets an ARP reply back. And all that is it says, look, I'm looking for this IP. Can someone send the MAC address for this IP back to me, or wherever? And if that IP is on your network, it will answer that. Now it goes out as a broadcast. Now you see, this is what I'm talking about when if you guys, well, we need to talk about it in the Discord after this video, because do you guys want me to do the you know graphics or the animations and everything to demonstrate this, or can you follow along with what I'm telling you? You know, Following along with what I'm telling you, takes a little more concentration and everything. But my problem with visual aid is people fall asleep or they not paying attention. They're looking at the fancy animation and stuff, and they're just watching the little thing, travel around the screen. And the information that they should be memorizing and learning is just going in one ear and out the other because they're mesmerized, by the animation going on. They're entertained instead of learning. So it's a dual sword, you know. Learning without the animation, like when I'm describing it to you, kind of forces you to listen and pay attention to what I'm saying with no visuals. Or would you guys like the visuals and possibly not learn as well, not be as good because it's not going to stick as much in your memory as it would if you actually were paying attention to it. And you notice also, while I'm on this topic, you notice also that this video is following the last video yesterday with a pretty girl in the thumbnail. Now, obviously, I don't do my graphics. I don't do graphics on the, I can, and I do graphics, but that's in another area. That's not in here in security. Um, I just have, like I always have, like since the first video, I just, do my storytelling, do my explaining, and, my work and my backstory and all that stuff, to lay the groundwork for this channel so everyone has a full picture of me and my background and, why I'm here and how I got here and all that stuff. That's what these first few videos are for, is for all of that. And then when, after this is what, 7 videos, probably after 10 videos or so, all my backstory and everything will be covered and we can get on with the actual learning from there on. And anytime someone says, well, what'd you do before, or I can just refer them back to these first 10 videos and say, look, everything you need to know is in those first videos, um, and don't have to waste time, with people bringing up, anything about me because I'm sure it's all been covered within these 10 videos, and that's why I'm doing these videos like this with the storytelling and everything. But apparently, people are actually you know, liking the storytelling. So that wasn't planned. That was a surprise, but oh well. But you're going to see how the views on this video drops, and because everyone wanted to, everyone that clicked on that. Right now it's approaching 300 videos and it hadn't even been up. 300 views, and hasn't even been up 24 hours yet. And I know they're not watching. It's a 42-minute video. I know they're not watching the video. And by the way, if you hear noise and stuff, the wife is cooking in the background. So, I got to cook, but I'm going to be cooking after this video. Well, actually, I got to take a shower after this video. Then I got to cook, and it's actually 6 o'clock here at night. So, yeah, my night's going to might be a little extended tonight. And I got to edit this video after I'm done. So, yeah, I'll be up for a while. But and so you're free to chat with me on the Discord after when you see the video and stuff up, because I'm more likely I'll be up till probably midnight or who knows. As long as I'm not hurt, as long as but well, my body always hurts, but when it gets to the point that I don't want to put up with it no more, I just go to bed usually. But Yeah, this video compared to that video is not going to have a chance because this video involves studying. It's complicated. People are going to have to concentrate, and just a lot of the YouTube traffic that I normally get, that likes the stories, or whatever and everything. You're going to see how fast they drop off because they when they see, oh wow, this is actual learning, and this is I can't understand any of this shit. Like they look at that regular expression up there, and they're like, what the hell is that? you know, and so you just lose them. They're like, oh, I'm out of here. This is getting too serious for me. I'm gonna go, to Netflix or Twitch or something. I'm gonna watch someone else do complicated stuff because that's more entertaining. But anyway, with that, let's get on. Let me just jump all of this digression that I was into. There's another. It was going on another storytelling episode, I'm sure. But so, how does this lead to ARP for one? Since this is the ARP video, and how does this lead to malware? Well, this is actually comes from an extension that I made for Chrome, and I don't sell it. I don't give it away. I don't do it. It's like most everything that I do. It's my tool, my extension, and everything. And it's there just to click to go through all the websites that I go to. And um, at this point, porn is not even entertaining to me. You know, I go to porn, because I want to see what's out there, and I want to keep up on what's happening in the industry, what's going on in 3D porn because that's my space, and the same with AVNs, and everything. But these are sketchy places. This is an area where malware and stuff is distributed because there's so many people that go to these porn sites. They won't tell you, if you were talking to Joe at the bar, hey man, do you serve porn like that? He'll lie through his fucking teeth. Oh man, no, no way. Do you do that? You see, he's asking you that to see if you're going to tell the truth, because really you both know you do, but no one really wants to say it in public. Oh yeah, man, I serve porn all the time. What the fuck? But anyway, um, I've been surfing porn for so long, you know, it's just a thing now. But um, I know that there's sketchy stuff on it, and these regular expressions, a whole fucking huge list of them for every. You can see this is only for one thing. This is for if you watch up here, me highlighting. You see this article in the middle of it. So yeah, it's looking for a URL, a specific URL, which this all of this stuff right here identifies it, and this is a site that I was redirected to. And believe it or not, for if any of you spam baiters are watching this video this far in, which I doubt it, I seriously doubt it, um, this link came off of following one of your guys' link and I forgot who it was, but it was in the description. And so somebody has hijacked your description and changed your URL without you knowing it. And it was only my regular expression that caught it. And we're going to see where it goes to in a minute. But yeah, they're not watching this. They probably I did tell the mod Boo Boo Bear um, that and she wanted to see my video and so and everything. She might have told some of the people in the group, and they might have watched it. But I guarantee you, they're not going to watch anything beyond that. So they're not going to see this. But yeah, this link literally came off of one of their videos, and someone has changed their link without them knowing it. And yet you can do that. You can change the link, and when they mouse over it, it'll still say Patreon or Discord or whatever. You won't know it until you click on it. Um, Welcome to hackers. Like I said, hackers don't have rules. They don't give a shit. They do what they want. There's no scope, in scope or out of scope or any, all that BS. Um, so yeah, and this also what this I can actually pivot off of this and go into stream jacking, which any YouTuber should know that, especially the scam baiters. But Yeah, this is, when you get into this, this takes you down that path too, where instead of just changing links in the description, they're taking the whole channel, and so yeah, it can get worse. So yeah, but so this leads to all that from a regular expression, and that's what I'm using it because it fits in multiple purposes here. This will tell you guys, for the guy that wants to know about reverse engineering malware. Well, this is how I find a lot of my malware. Well, also, and look, traveling porn, going to dark web, and going even on the clear web, just clicking links, searching on things and looking, in Google search, and especially the paid ads. You always want to pay attention to the paid ads because that's where a lot of scamming, a lot of legal stuff goes on, a lot of these bad links that take you to malware and stuff because they're very, like I said, you need to learn web page programming. You need to learn, SEO, and you're not going to be an internet marketer or you're not going to be a web designer or anything, but you got to learn these things because all of these bad people, they need their own websites to do these. Now, granted, they're not really designed that well, but the ones that want the big money do take the time to design a professional looking website and stuff. And that's how they get really, really rich and really, really successful because all of their shit looks professional. It doesn't look half-assed. And that's how they do it. They're only worried about SEO and how to manipulate Google's search algorithm for their own benefit. And they take advantage of the paid ads because they know that's going to put them right on top until Google notices it. But Google ain't going to do nothing. Why? Money. Google is making money off these people. You think they want to get rid of that? No, they don't want to get rid of that. Do you think they would admit it if you asked them? No, they're not going to admit it because that's unethical. We don't do anything unethical at Google. Um, and before I get my own self in trouble, we'll just drop it there, okay? um, but anyway, back to the thing here. So this is how I find my malware and everything, and this is what's going to kick us off on our ARP adventure because this site here, and now we're going to switch over to Chrome, and you can see where this actually leads me. I don't click on this link in my normal browser, by the way, just to let you guys know. No one should be doing it on Discord or anywhere, even on my channel. Well, actually, most people can't post a link on my channel. So yeah, well, they can post. Well, we won't get into that anyway. But this is let's switch over there before I go on a rant again here. Okay. Um, this here. Well, first, before I get into this, you can use this for free. Okay, you're not going to get a lot, and this is a free version right here. So you get 60 seconds. You get 60 seconds right here of processing your link. And you can see what happened when I went to it. This is the plain Windows. Well, this is any run, by the way, but it's expensive. So this is not for a beginner, but I'm showing you guys what I do, okay? Um, the paid version gets you access to, more stuff and more time for your VM to run, the link, because that's all it's doing. You put see all these over here? These are all prior links that I put. Every time you put in a link, a machine's got to be fired up. And this right here, we can see the date. You can see I started it. This was November 6th, 2021. So this last one down here, what is this? 4, 8, 9. This is the ninth machine in this row. This is over, nearly 2 years ago. So, but anyway, you know, I put it in. We see. Okay, see, there's my link. You can see it right there in the bar. This connection isn't private and everything. You get your certain notifications. So I click on, well, I just continue. going. Then it goes away, does some thinking. Now it's taking me here to this accept. Well, I can't move my mouse because my mouse is actually my scroll thing in this VM because the VM's already done. And so, but let me go back. Where was it? There it is. You see right here, I got the accept or reject all down there. But look in the bar. Look in the address bar. There's no address. It's not telling you where you're at. Please place your favorites here on the favorites bar. Do you really want to click that? Is it okay to click that? You don't know yet. Your guys are beginners. You don't trust anything on your monitor. When you click on a link like this, it's sketchy because the whole freaking browser can be taken over. Everything about it. So there is no link on your browser that is trustable. So, but yeah, kind of weird, huh? It's having you to accept something. Well, what are you accepting? Yeah, because there's no okay, Microsoft Care. Now, if you guys have watched any of the scam baiters videos, you know Microsoft support is really huge in India. They do a lot of Microsoft support, a lot of Amazon support, and everything. So even that's sketchy. When you say I accept and you look at you don't look at that and say I accept and you're like, oh, it's from Microsoft. Well, yeah, of course I accept. No, 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 no. Um, there's some tools that you should know about in your browser, and some of you I'm sure probably do, even that you beginners that have been doing some studying for a while. You know about the Java window that pops up. That's a huge thing to dive into. But you can get a more in-depth look when you use the Java inspector and see, because you can see the Java code and you can see the HTML, the CSS, and you can see, what the page is actually doing and where links are going to and all that stuff. But like I said, that's further down the road for us to get. Like I told you guys, I tell you over and over. You guys have got years and years of learning to do. You're just starting out on this journey, and it's not going to be a short one. So let's continue with that. Where's it going? Again, here we are. Yeah, it's going to stay here for the rest of it, so that's good. Oh, I got to keep it lit. But here we are again. We're at a website again. Microsoft Start. Oh, see how it goes away. Up there in the top left corner, Microsoft Start. This looks like an official Microsoft page, but would Microsoft actually look like this? How many times do you guys go to a Microsoft website? Is this their web design style? Some questions I won't answer that for you guys, but some questions to ask. What are some of the profiling? Let's profile here. You guys should go to Microsoft, the actual Microsoft sites. Not we still don't have an address in the bar up there. So you always want to make sure you at least see Microsoft.com up there and make sure of the spelling. Go through it real closely and make sure when you see an I, question that because it could be an L, a small L, or an I, a capital I. Because you won't have the bar. It's not sans there. You won't have the bar up there. A capital I will look like a small L. So you guys got to pay attention to what your address bar is saying because those are people that buy domain names that are similar to what they're trying to make a copy of and direct people to log in. Because you look at, you look up there real quick, you see Microsoft.com real fast because you're in a hurry or whatever, your dinner's burning, who knows. But you glance up there, okay, yeah, Microsoft.com, okay, I trust it, and you go on and you missed one letter, you know. Instead of an E, it was actually a three, and you just skimmed over it, So you got to pay attention to what you're doing when you're doing this research. Um, well, at any time actually, but varies when you're doing research. Because if you're doing research, then you need to be going to bad places, but you shouldn't be going to bad places until you know what you're doing. because you can still hose your computer, and you need to buy a new one. And some of you can't afford that. So, and your parents might be pissed for hosing the computer. Now they got to buy a new one. Look up here. I'm not even signed in, but somehow I got 4 notifications. They want you to click on that. Why? Who knows? But see, I could do it in this VM. Well, on the paid version, I could have done that. I could have clicked on that, and all this stuff over here would have been going on, and I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, this is where the VM start. Shows you what would have loaded, and all of this over here shows you what is happening behind the scenes, in loading this page and what's going on and what you're actually getting and stuff. And this is like your safety net before you actually click on a link if you suspicious of something. And that URL that we looked at in the Sun, and from the regular expression, that looked kind of sketchy. So you're like, you know what? I don't want to go to that website. Let's check it out first and see what it does before I actually go to it. Now, you can see right here, you can download a PCAP, which is all the internet, the traffic that went on in this capture and everything. And I already did that, and that's going to be the file that we're going to be looking at here. And there's other stuff over here along with the top up here. We're going to go over those real quick. You can click on files. This tells you, see all the binary files, the red or orange, whatever you want to call it. But these are all binary files. And you see they got .temp. Yeah, and so temp is binary. DAT can be binary. And everything. You can go through these. You can download these also. If I click on this right here, well, actually, let's look at something. Okay, there it is. Crashpad Matrix. That's what I was looking for. You click on this, and you see it's a report by GPT or Chat GPT. Now this is a little more advanced than the free Chat GPT that you guys probably use on OpenAI. So, and this Chat GPT is specifically trained and everything on malware, because that's all it's going to be doing. It's not going to be chatting to people. It's not going to have to answer people's questions or anything or any of that. It's trained on one job, and that is to analyze all this malware that's coming through it and everything and break it down. And that's what it knows. So you see the usual, this file is used for crash, and you can learn about Windows files here also, by the way. So this is a learning tool, and like I said, this is the free version. So what you're seeing me do, you guys can do also without paying any money. So it says this file is used for the crash report. And by the way, the paid version, the minimum paid version, after the free version, the next version is $109 a month. So you have the free version, and then your next choice is $109 a month. Now you can pay yearly if you want, and that'll be under $100, a month when you divide it by 12, because they give you, like everybody, they give you a 15 or 20% discount when you pay yearly. But like I said, no place for beginners to be paying that kind of money now on the beginning of your journey, because you're not really going to get into this that serious to need the advanced features yet. This will, educate you on the Microsoft file system. And by the way, that's all you can use. You can use Microsoft Windows 11, 10, 7, 8, 9, all that. You won't be able to use any other OS like Linux or anything unless you buy, that's not one of the perks of paying the $109. You get access to other operating systems, but to run your malware through, that is, because you might suspect that okay, well this website really doesn't attack Windows. This attacks Mac, or this attacks Linux, computers, and that would allow you to run that link on one of those machines. But you see, this is how it tells you how you can educate yourself on what is what was I saying? Can I move this? No, I can't move it. But anyway, on the ClearPad metrics, this allows you to This file is used for crash reporting and metrics collection in Microsoft Edge browsers. The file crash metrics .pma, blah, 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 blah. And you see this right here. We're going to go back to this because I didn't. Do I want to break down a regular expression in this for you guys? Doesn't really pertain. I might. I'll think about it. But remember this: the PM dot and then that little thing there, ripply thing, and these numbers and everything, and then it ends with a dot TMP. And the TMP is case sensitive. It's all capitals. If you want to do that, you can choose to do that in regular expression or not. But this is how, if you know this is what you're looking for in a URL or something or anything, you can, or anywhere, even a website or anywhere through text and stuff, you can put a regular expression specifically designed to catch anything like this with any RF and any number here at the end of it, because you can hard code this or you can make it wildcard and stuff. But it's like a temporary file created during the crash reporting process. But down here at the bottom, you can see malicious programs could potentially abuse the crash reporting functionality to collect sensitive information or evade detection. Attackers may manipulate or replace the temporary files created during the crash reporting to hide malicious activities or to exfiltrate data from the system. So in other words, when they get your PII information, or when they get your passwords or whatever it is they're collecting from you, they can use this to exfiltrate that data from your computer to their computer. So they have it now. And it's important to monitor such files for an unusual behavior that could indicate malicious intent. So, and like I said, there's different captures here. This has got a PID of 4,000, tells you right there. And you can see over here, we got a PID. We got two of them of 4,000. Each of them are about 400 milliseconds, 450 milliseconds. And then we got one of them of 3976, which is the majority of the PIDs on this capture, unfiltered, are 3996. And we'll get into that, why there's so many of them. But here we got a text one too. And it still said it still says the .exe extension and everything. This is log old. So this is like an archive or a backup or something on this one. We can click on that. This file is used for logging site characteristics in Microsoft Edge browser. And again, it tells you down here that it could be, kind of like the same thing. Could potentially modify this file to manipulate characteristics leading to unauthorized access and everything. And Microsoft Edge is full of this kind of stuff. But, Microsoft Edge needs it, for its Active Directory and the information that it needs to log, information for the admins and all that stuff and everything. So it's let me clear out our thing here and go back to it. See, most of these are 3976 right here. There's only like two or three or so that are 4,000. But that's when there is no debug. There is a tab here, but there was no debug activity in this particular run of this URL here. We do have some outside connections, all UDP and TCP, and like I said, these will be in the PCAP file that I have, so you don't have to worry about that. Now it tells you the countries. It shows you the country flags. If this is another thing, again, that you guys should learn, memorize, get a list off of Google Images or however you need to do it. I have a really big, I could actually put together a graphic for you guys with all of the flags on there of the important countries to pay attention to and everything. And you guys should memorize them. You should put them in a flip, a quiz program, where it shows you and you take a guess and you flip the card over and it tells you whether you're right or wrong. I have a program for that on Mac. Well, I'm sure Windows has programs for it. But you guys need to memorize these and everything so you can recognize them, because you'll see these a lot. Where they won't have the country name. Let's go back. They won't have the country name on them or anything, but you would have to know, you would have to recognize them by sight and everything. That will come in handy in your researching and stuff. But DNS request over here. You can see it's requested in Skype my puzzle dash 14 live, which was our URL, if you remember right there, my puzzle dash 14.live. So then Edge, Microsoft.com, uh, Edge hyphen HTTP, and that's another thing we'll get into. And you can look at the IP address there, and you click on this, you can copy it. You know, if you want to save it into like a notepad or Obsidian. People remember the end of my last video. My end of my last video with IRL Rosie on it. You know, I went over Obsidian and I showed you guys my graph, my beginning graph to my YouTube channel, and this is where you could paste that in there and look this up, you know, on a lookup online and everything, and find out what the AS is for it and more about that network and everything, and make a whole file on it and everything. And you know, you get enough of these together and everything, you can see a pattern. You know, you can see what's globbed together and what's not, and who owns what and everything. And these other ones here too, same thing. Do it to all of them, and start building your own database, so to speak, of all these IP addresses. You can make it in a specific vault on Obsidian, where it's just questionable uh, IP addresses and everything, and you can have a whole graph showing you how everything's all laid out and what country, you know, each one of these IPs belong to, which one have you recorded the most of, and you know, a whole bunch of stuff. You know, it's all about intelligence, 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 intelligence. You know, this is the intelligence game. You know, the more information you guys collect, the more information you have to analyze and work on and know about things that maybe you're not supposed to know or you're not supposed to figure out. But enough of that. We got one threat. What is the threat? It wants an ET policy, OpenSSL demo, certificate of authority, internet widget. We won't get into that right now. We're going to stick to our ARP and everything and get to our capture here real quick. Like I said, I don't want this video to go too long, so I might have to shut it down and maybe make it part 2 or just move on to the next protocol. We'll see. We'll talk about it in chat, guys. But here's a graph, tells you, you know, if you do, you know, if this, you know, you know, all this clicking around and everything, and this MSE, you can see this is all nested right here. It's only these two, the EMS Edge EXE and the WMP EXE. But this one here has done a lot of work. It's done a lot of stuff. And you expand it, and you see all these A's and everything. Um, it doesn't pertain to this example right here, but a lot of these A's and stuff are used in binaries for malware authors looking for vulnerabilities in binary files. And what they're specifically looking for is buffer overflows, because that's how they can take over a machine and get a reverse shell back if they can find a buffer that they can overflow to put their own code in. And they'll use a whole string of A's like this so they can identify it in the reversing uh, program, you know, whatever they're using. You know, you can use Ghidra, you can use IDA, you can use Hopper, you know, whatever you're using. But they'll know, you know, they'll skim through it and everything. And then when they see a whole bunch of A's like this, they know that, oh, we we call it a slide, a no op slide. And like I said, I'll get into that when we get into reverse engineering. But yeah, they said, you know, that's a place that I can throw, and it's a slide because you don't have to put your code any particular place, because this A could go on for a long time. It all depends on how long they wanted it to go. It was put in here programmatically, so you know, it depends on when they see how big. But you know, it could go right here at the beginning, at the first A, or they might inject it, you know, right in the middle, right here where my mouse is, right there. But the code will go in there and it'll just slide down. It'll slide down and then fill up this whole area. And there's, you know, no right or wrong place to put it. You just got to put it in that area, you know, in that space from the first day to the last day, because that's where the slide is. But this particular thing is not that. It's something else. And you can see there's another one down here. And we have this type GPU process, GPU preference in front of both of them. These other ones, you know, are laying, you know, English language, first render process. So okay, we got GPU preference, we got a render process in here. So it looks like this is, doing something, like I said, this is for you guys to learn on your to research. You guys got to dig into this. This is how you learn everything. You're coming onto this particular thing now brand new because you don't know what all these means and everything. So you research them and everything, you read about them, you learn about it, and that's how you know what is actually going on here, because you got a GPS, you got a GPU thing going on here, you got rendering going on here. You see a crash pad handler up here, and these are all clues. You don't need to go through this. All you got to do is look through here. FS flags, and what are they? Right here you see MS, user, locale, and everything. These are all clues to let what's going on here. Yes, it has something to do with the GPU, but right here we got the Mojang unzipper, service sandbox, and like I said, this is all part of learning. You know, Diving into these things, finding things that you don't know, and searching Google on them, searching Chat GPT, whatever. There's no bad tool or right tool or anything. You're collecting information. There's going to be bad information everywhere, and there's going to be good information. It is your guys' job to sift through it and find out what is real, what keeps overlapping. And this is why you want to put all your information in Obsidian or a program like Obsidian if you got another choice, you want to use. I use Obsidian myself, but that's my preference. But this is why you want to, while you're doing research, you want to copy and paste all this stuff into Obsidian. Learn how to use Obsidian with the linking and everything, so your graph is correct and everything. And that will build. That's all you got to do is create the pages, the notes they call it, and when you got it, when it's big enough, as it grows and everything, when it's big enough and everything, you can look back through it and you could see the whole full picture. The graph will show you what's connected, what's not connected, and everything like that. And it'll instead of going down a rabbit hole, it'll direct you on where you need to be focusing on and going deeper. And as you go deeper into that part, then naturally your graph is going to build, and then other things are going to separate. Now you're not going still not going down a rabbit hole. You're getting deeper in the hole, but you're not on a wild goose chase. You're not chasing the rabbit. You see and you know where you're going at every step. Every time your graph grows, it shows you where you need to be focusing and where you don't need, forget about it. That's irrelevant. And so that's the main importance of this whole thing. This is helping you guys do your research and everything. And for you guys to make your own fuzzers and searchers and stuff, you'll need to know regular expression. So that will be one of the side videos that I do, you know, that will be in a playlist, and everything. In between these learning series videos and stuff, that'll be one of the things that I'll do where I'll break down regular expressions. You guys can study that video and practice it and learn it. There's programs out there you can download that'll help you do regular expressions on, in your computer. If you're on Windows, look for Reg Buddy, and I'll show you guys what I use on Mac, because I'm on a Mac. So for those probably very few of you that are on a Mac, that's what I'll be showing in my video when I cover regular expressions. But anyway, let's move on this right here. We did the graph. Yeah, we did the graph. This shows you the graph, and that's all it is. It shows you the MS Edge, and right here is the WMP exe all by itself. It's got no connections. It's all on its own. It's this Edge exe that is actually doing all the work. Now this might raise, because this was sent. Why is it not doing anything? And these are things that you guys got to answer on your own, and you'll pick this up as you learn more. But there could be a reason why it's sitting there doing nothing. Don't just say, well, it's not, nothing's connected to it, so it's useless, and delete it. You know, well, not here. You can't delete because it's on their system. But if you were to download all this stuff and everything for your own research and everything, you don't do that. because you need to research it first. You need to know. You need to not guess or have an opinion. You need to know that it's useless. But that question should still remain in your mind. Why was it put here? Why did it come through? Was it from the person that created the malicious link? Or is this something that just slipped in here for some, because it might not belong to the malicious person with the link, but if an IDS or if the operating system or something is what let this slip in here, that could lead to a 0-day vulnerability or something. Like I said, it takes investigating. You need to look at that and find out why is the whole big question is why is this here? And that should be your number one question on everything that you look at in cybersecurity. Everything that you look at. Doesn't matter how inconspicuous it is or anything. When you look at something that's doesn't fit, it's out of the ordinary and everything, always ask why. Why is this here? There's an answer. Find out what the answer is. That could be your ticket to paradise for all you uh see, now I need to say his name. Eddie Money. Yeah, for all you Eddie Money fans. If you answer that question on why is this here, it might be your ticket to paradise, which would be a vulnerability. That is our version. Our vulnerability, our paradise and goals and everything is not money. Our goals and everything are things like this. Things that lead to things people will pay money for, which is knowledge. You find a 0-day, um, that's your 0-day. You can sell that if you want to an antivirus company or another research company. There are companies like that buy those. Not the bug bounties. I'm not a big bug bounty fan. I'll tell you guys right now because they pay garbage for the stuff. Plain and simple. Bugs are worth more, lots more than what they're paying. But you guys take your own. You guys do your own thing. It's all about learning. So that's the main thing. Don't worry about the money and everything. When you get to be good enough and everything, and you know a lot about what's going on, and you're doing your own research. You don't need no more courses. You don't need no more training and everything. You're at the point where you know enough, you can understand enough, and you can break down and learn new things on your own based on your current knowledge that you already have. And like I said, this is not a within 5-year thing. For those of you that are, gung ho, fully motivated, and practice and do this stuff, at least 2 hours or more a day. You're the ones that are going to get there quicker. So always keep that in mind. Now, are we ready to jump over to Wireshark, people? Have we covered this on that? Oh, I can go to MITRE ATT&CK. Okay. You can see all this does is kind of like what I did similar in my Excel sheet that I showed you, where I have all the malware APTs. This is kind of like, know, my MITRE ATT&CK on any run here. You got the initial access, the execution, the persistence, privilege escalation, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, lateral movement, collection, CNC, which is command and control, exfiltration, which means they're taking the information back off of your system to their computer, so they have possession of it and they own it now. And impact. What's the impact of all of this stuff here that happened? But you can see right here there was a user execution malicious file, one. Over here in discovery, we got a query register. We got 2 query registers and 2 system information discoveries. And that's all that really came out of this. That could be good or bad. Like I said, you got to ask yourself why. You got to look into it and find out, what the whole thing is. Does ChatGPT have anything to say? Um, in conclusion, the task involved the execution of the Windows Media Player configuration tool which may not be inherently malicious, but could be used by threat actors as part of their attack chain. Malware analysts should pay attention to the process tree, file changes, registry manipulations, and we did see that, remember? The registry did get manipulated, and network activity associated with this tool to determine if it poses any serious threat or risk. And what it doesn't tell you here is right here any serious security risk or threat and anything. But if it does, you need to know what that threat or risk actually is, and what is the value of it. Once you find out that it is a threat or a risk, you need to monetize that. You need to find out what the value of that risk is, because if you're a company or you're working for a company or you're a pen tester and everything, this will go in your report. You like, look, I found this vulnerability and everything, and apparently it's got a lot of value to it, because this is the risk that you're facing with it. This is the threat of it. It's coming from Iran or wherever, or even, not even a third world country. It could be coming from a competitor. You might have got infected here in the States by a competitor. Yes, that has happened. And so, that's important information, because you'll need that in any kind of lawsuit or anything and stuff. And it will need to have a value put on it, because the court will need to know, if to the winner, whoever they are, they will need to know how much it needs to levy for the fine. And if they don't have a value on what this potential threat could have been, or how much it could have really harmed the company, well, how does the court know what kind of value to put on it? So that's your job to know these things. This is why I told you in the previous video yesterday on why I follow countries. I follow the politics. I follow what goes on with them. How their economy is and everything, because this is why they're doing it. They're doing it to make money for their economy, keep their economy going. Because a lot of these third world countries, employment's not really that good. Their people don't have a lot of money, so the government's not really collecting a lot of money in taxes, because no one really has money, and so they got a whole thing going on that the U.S. doesn't really experience, because we're a rich nation. So you want to know why Russia and China and India and all them do scams and do hacking and all that? This is why, you know. So welcome to the way the world is actually run and operates. Not everybody's living. The other side of the fence isn't always green. People always tell you that. If you don't like where you're at, well, the other side of the fence, is always great. Well, wonder if you've already went on the other side of the fence. Now, if you look at the other side of the fence from your perspective, the other side of the fence is dirt and dead desert. So, when I say the other side of the fence is always greener, it depends on your perspective. You know, are you looking at it from the desert side, or are you already on the grass side and you're looking at the other side? If you're already on the grass side and you don't like your current situation, well, looking at the other side of the fence doesn't look so happy now, does it? Because it's all dead shit over there and nothing's growing, nothing's living. So let's go ahead and jump over to Wireshark and we'll close it up here real quick. Because like I said, I can make this a part 2 and everything. And we'll talk about whether we need a part 2 and everything in the chat room. From what you guys already learned. But we do need to cover ARP, because it's going to be quick. It's not really a lot to ARP, but it is a very, very important protocol. And I might go over the internet real quick, or I might go ahead and do a part 2 and put that in there. All right. And finally, here we are in Wireshark. Now, you're going to see a ton of protocols. This is a capture from what we've just been looking at. And what do we got here? We got 7,076 captures. Now, I didn't need to do that, but I scrolled down for you guys' entertainment so you can get a quick glimpse of all the shit that's here. But right down here in the bottom corner, you can see, over here where the binary is, if you look down at the bottom window right there, you can see packets 7,076, and it's displaying all of them 100%. Now, that's because if I put a filter in up here, like an ARP filter or anything, it'll tell you the total packet still, but it'll tell you how much is actually showing in the window here. So a little bit of information now. And we'll get into when we start learning about Wireshark and how to customize it, because all these columns can be expanded to however many you want and include whatever information you want, even custom columns. If you make a custom filter up here, you can turn it into a column, and you can make a custom profile down here. You can see there's only 3 profiles down here, but you can create a custom one, and this can grow to be very big, like it is with me, where you can have custom Wireshark profiles for different types of things. But like I said, that's in the Wireshark training program. Right now we're on ARP and protocols. Browse right here is one of those protocols that well, it's this is kind of like putting ARP on the back burner again, because it's similar to ARP. It does the same kind of thing as ARP does, but it's all related. But let's go ahead. Let's jump over it. It's for Windows, by the way. You can see down here when we do this. This is one of the things that Windows uses to discover other Windows machines on the network. And you can look down on the SMB right here. You can see mail slot. And over here you see mail slot / browser. There's the op the op code and everything. And right here it tells you in the header of the packet Microsoft Windows browser protocol. There's your flag. There's your request announcement. And this is just like a request. It tells you right here, request announcement, user PC. That means user PC is the one doing this request announcement. And it's over here. It's 1048. Throwing out a broadcast here. You can see 100.255. So it's broadcasting this out over the whole network and making an announcement. And no one's going to answer this because the IP of the sender and the destination is the same. It's your IP or this machine's IP. But this is just an announcement. And ARP has the same thing. The ARP has an announcement also, which is also a gratuitous announcement. They're both the same thing. But in ARP, you might see an ARP announcement in the info window here, or you might see an ARP gratuitous. They're both the same thing. So I'm not going to get into why that happened, but you can, if you want, if you're that interested in it to kill time, you can search into it if you want to. But the whole point of it is don't waste your time. You got better things to do, and just understand that with ARP, the announcement and the gratuitous are both the same thing. And all this is doing is it's letting all the other machines on the network, in a cut down way, all the other machines in the network know that this machine is here. If you haven't updated your ARP cache or your cache for this, this is for Windows, and Linux will have its own, but we'll get into that later. But in other words, if it was time for you to delete my IP address, because I haven't done anything on the internet in a while, I've been idle, this is a notice to you that this is who I am, and you can put it back in your cache again. And if my IP expires in your cache later on, well, I'll send you another announcement, and that's how the network stays refreshed. Now, this could also cause loopbacks. I don't know if I want to get into network devices now, because that's also important, because ARP can also cause a loopback also, where your network is flooded with these requests, and it's just these devices trying to stay updated, and a switch might be down, or a switch might not have been updated properly or misconfigured. And this is what hackers look for. And this is why you need to know ARP and all these some of them meaningless protocols, because hackers will be looking for ARP and because they know this loopback problem exists. And this will allow them to get into the network because there's so much shit traffic going on because all of this ARP flooding storm, they call it, on the network has got all the devices confused and their stuff just blends in. And maybe, just maybe, one of the devices, either a switch or a router, might choose to grab their request and take it as fact and put them in the ARP cache or the table, depending on the machine, whatever. But and now you're in, the network. When a request comes to that IP address for a MAC address or something or anything, it'll be sent back to you. And now you're a man in the middle. That's one of the many ways to be a man in the middle. But there are better ways. But anyway, you know, for those of you that haven't went through, you're so new that you haven't went through Wireshark. You can see DNS, which we'll go over next, I believe. I believe it's DNS. DNS and DHC, it's the same, kind of same thing, kind of different. But again, that's the difference between, it's like talking Mac versus Windows. They're the same thing. They do the same thing, but Windows has the whole DHCP thing, and we'll get into that. But this is an A record, and it's config.edge.skype.com. So we know that this is a Skype domain, and these are all subdomains, by the way. Everything before the dot. So Skype.com is the main domain, and this Edge is a subdomain of that, and the config is another subdomain of Skype.com, but it's also a subdomain of Edge. And we'll get into the importance of that also later on. But these are things that are just coming, and this is give you guys a quick idea of what ARP's all about, and that's all it is, really, in a nutshell. We can talk about it in the chat if you guys need more or you want more in-depth information into this, but it's basically a way for just one device to announce to another. And what you'll see right here on ARP, you see here's an ARP. It's sending out a who has, well, you can tell it's a private address by the 192.168. You guys might not know that. You might know that. Who knows? And we're not getting into class A, class B, class C IP address or network blocks or anything like that. So again, more stuff to come. But this is machine 46 basically on this 192, 168, 100 network. And whoever has this, tell 192, 168, 100.2. Now, so this is because this is a 2 or a 1, usually, not all the time, but usually this will be the gate router or the gateway. What's separating your machine from the internet, basically. Your local LAN from the internet. You're on your local LAN, which is this 168.100 right here, and your device 746. And this here is overlooking your whole network. All of your devices on here, 45, 44, all the way down to whatever, will all report to this 100.2 and keep it up to date on what its MAC to IP address is. Now, our ARP or RARP, that's a reverse. The ARP is what takes an IP to a MAC address, and RARP is what changes an MAC address to an IP, or like a reverse lookup. So in other words, if you just have a MAC address and you want to know what the IP to that is, you would need the RARP to translate that. And if you have an IP address and you don't know what the MAC address is, you use the ARP protocol to find that. And this is how you send out your requests and your replies. You're telling this is my machine and this is my MAC address. What is your MAC address? 168.100.2, and please send your MAC address back to 46. That way I can put it in my cache, and there's like a time to live for the caches. You can set that in milliseconds in your router setup, your computer setup. Everything has a cache. So depending on your, whether it's a Windows machine, Mac machine, or it's a router, depending on whether it's Cisco or any other manufacturers, they've all got their own language, their own command, structure and everything. So, but you just got to know that all of them have a cache, and you need to learn how to work on each individual device through a command prompt, because the command prompt is how you communicate on the network. You can't crawl into the network yourself. So you gotta you gotta be able to learn how to run a terminal. So again, another big thing down the road. But you can see right here, TLS. That's another big topic. It's not going to be part of what I'm covering in the protocols here, because this is getting really deep into protocols and everything. We'll probably cover the ACK right here. We also got sync right here, and there should be there should be, where is this one? 180. But anyway, the format is a sync, then a sync act. In other words, the sync is the request sent out. Oh, here's the 180. Is that now? Where's the other 180? There's that. So anyway, one is a sync, the other one is a sync act, and then it'll finish off with an act. That's the three handshake right there. A request gets sent out through sync. The machine that you send it to receives it, and it acknowledges your sync and sends an act back saying, "I got your message," and you're waiting for this sync act to come back. And this is kind of like how traceroute works, or ping and other stuff. And then once you get it, see right here, you're going back to 180, because you get your sync act, and now you're telling it just act. In other words, that's your answer. It starts out with just a plain old sync, and it ends with just a plain old act. In other words, this is the confirmation that yes, I got your message. So basically, you're asking for the information here. It's telling you, okay, I received your request, and yes, I have your message. Here it is. And you're saying, okay, I got the message, and here's my response, letting you know that I got the message. And this three-way communication is done now. That's all. There's no more need for this particular thing. And like I said, we can get into other stuff like this, with the sequence, the act, and all that. The Windows 65 560, and everything. And we see our address, the Be My Prize 14 or L4, whatever .live. And we can look into the header here, see the actual binary. See, there it is in the binary, and all this other stuff around it. But like I said, this is why we're getting into networking, because I think I'm going to cut it off here, because you guys get the basic idea. I guess I'll make a part two, and we'll run down real quick the internet and how the internet works. Because what happens is your ARP request only goes to your router, and your router is when it takes your request. If it's not meant for your local area network, your LAN, if you're going out on the internet, your router will take that and forward it out to the internet, but it will strip the MAC address off of it first, because it doesn't need that on the internet. The internet works on IP addresses. And, except your ISP. Your ISP will need its own ARP working in its subnets, which are many. An ISP is huge. So, but ARP is not used throughout the whole internet like it is in your local network. It's only used on a subnetwork. So you got to understand that too. But on the big internet, when you do a trace route and you're watching your trace route go through on your terminal and everything, ARP is not involved in any of that. You're getting into actual IP packets and time to live and hops and all of that stuff. But that'll be in a part two. We don't know yet when. And now we see some THP. You can see right here, it's getting a captive port /generate 204, and it's a GET request. You'll see, post requests and all the different things, up here. We got DNS again, sending a query response. But all this stuff we'll get to, the M search, you'll see that a lot in all your captures. Here we got more ARP requests. Anytime you see this, who has, that's an ARP request. Here we got an ICMP version 6, a multicast listener message. And this can come from different, your router can send this out. Hackers can send this out. Some networks will allow ICMP, some won't, for security reasons. And when you're doing a ping or a trace route and everything, if that does happen on a firewall, you'll get the 4 asterisks there instead of an address. You'll see like it'll wait like 10 seconds. And you'll see 1 asterisk, then it'll wait. Then you'll see another asterisk, then it'll wait. Like that. And then when it hits the 4th one, if it's still waiting, it'll go down to the next hop and start the process all over. Until it might start off again collecting. And this is what you guys got to ask yourself. Don't just look at this stuff and say, oh, wow, that's cool, I'm running again. No. You're not running again. Those were where all those asterisks came, those were actual devices. Why did your trace route continue moving? If it was truly not a response and it wasn't recognizing you, why did you pass beyond that? How did the next hop know that you were going there? Who told it? Your device, you got 4 asterisks on this particular hop. It shouldn't be communicating with anyone beyond that, but it is, because your trace route is still going. So how does it know these? And you've got 3 hops in a row that have this asterisk. How does the fourth hop gives you a response? Well, how does this 4th hop know about these prior 3 ones that seemed to didn't know nothing? They just give me 4 asterisks. Again, what did I tell you about that exe file that was by itself and it's lonesome? Ask yourself why. Always the question to ask on everything in life, as far as cybersecurity goes, on anything that you find, no matter what it's pertaining to, the only question you need to be asking is why. And that's it. There's no other questions. Why? Why did that happen? How does the 4th hop know what the 3 hops prior to it seem to not know? And how do I know? I'm 4 hops away from it. So how am I getting this information when 3 people above me don't even know it? So, and it still knows where it's going. The destination IP, it already knows all the prior ones and everything. They passed that on. They kept passing that. That's why you know where this packet is going, and you send it there to the next hop, and everything. But why is this whole chain working? Basically, and this is one of the mysteries of what's going on out there for you new people to get into having fun, and it's a game to try to figure out. And with that head scratcher, that will leave you guys a week or two of just digging to try to figure that out. Forget everything else that I told you tonight with regular expressions and everything. But and this is why, like I said, the actual learning series with the numbered videos are going to be a week or 2 apart. Because you guys got all of this stuff to work on and study and figure out, and everything that I've told you just in this video, on top of your life, your kids, your work, the husband or wife, whatever the case is. You got stuff going on in your life. If you don't, well, then great. You're like me. You don't have a life. And this is your life. You have 10, 12, 15 hours a day or whatever it is, to put toward this. But as I'm scrolling through here, you can see that's all I'm doing is just showing you got a lot of, oh, by the way, speaking of art, one last thing. Let's put an art filter in here and see what we got. These are all of our art filters. And you see what I said? Who has, and all this stuff. And you can see what the main device is. You can see what your router is when you have this. always at the end of all of these. See this last machine? Well, that's a different communication there, but going to a different thing. But there, again, there could be a reason for that. We could look into that. But you can see for the most part, everything is 100.2. That's your router or a switch. Depending on what kind of network or LAN you got set up. There will be switches on LANs. If you guys game, if you guys have went to a gaming conference where all of you are competing at Fortnite or whatever, and there's 100 of you guys on a LAN that are playing this game for points and everything, and the winner gets money and all that and everything. Well, this is a miniature internet right here. You're going to have a lot of cable. You're going to have a lot of computers. You're going to have a LAN still, but it's a big LAN. You might have a cabinet, a network cabinet, that's got a bunch of servers in it, that are running the game and everything, and switches. You're going to have a lot of switches in it and everything that are handling all like that. Remember, there's a network architect or a network analyst, or there's people that are working on this network to keep it running, keep it up and running for all you people to play. And they know all this. They understand all this stuff because all of a sudden, if the whole gaming convention and everything has a problem and the network goes down or something because it's not, they're the ones that you got pissed off gamers. So they're the ones that need to go through, do some captures and stuff like this and go through it real quick and real quickly, find out what the issue is, what's causing the problem in this network, and that's why those people and everybody in tech and security and everything get paid the big bucks, because of this knowledge that they got to learn. That no one else wants to take the time to study and learn and remember, get in their heads and everything, and so they know it. So they got to hire people and pay the people, or else, they don't have events like this and stuff. It's the whole economic circle, business thing going. You need experienced people to run these things and run them correctly and keep everybody happy because these people are probably paid money to be in this tournament, and they would like to win something. They would at least like to place in the money so they can win their money back. Um, but yeah, if the network can't be managed and run correctly, then they're like, what the hell am I here? I ain't coming here next year for this event. These people don't got people that don't know what they're doing. So yeah, it's not a good branding or look for the organization or whoever's putting on the event. To have problems going like that happen, and the network people don't know how to solve it quickly to keep the game going. But with that, guys, let me know. You know, I'll say bring all the questions in the chat tomorrow. I know it's late right now, but and we'll discuss it. We'll talk about it. We can talk about whether the pictures, the graphics is better than me explaining it to you or what. You know my view on that. The graphics are going to be nice, but also understand. Let me close with this, and this little nugget here will also let me know who watched the video all the way through. If you want me to do the graphics and the animations and everything, I can do that. But it might not be 2 weeks. It might be longer because now all this extra work and everything is going to take time to do. To do all this and everything and sync it in with video editing and put it into the everything. I'm going to have a script probably because all these animations and everything, they're going to have to fit into a structured setup so they're in the right spot, right place in the video and all that and everything. So my videos might have to be scripted a little bit, and everything. So if you want the fancy stuff, it's going to change the whole video a little bit. Well, actually, a lot as far as time goes, because a lot more, and this from all the people that do have the fancy videos. They tell you, you know, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time and a lot of man hours and stuff to put these videos together, because the whole video from beginning to end is edited professionally and everything. Everything's filmed, and everything, all that stuff, and it's all put together and everything. So that's why it looks so nice and convenient and everything. But with that, we can, like I said, we can all talk about that in the Discord, because that's where the real serious people are. all these, 500 views or 1,000 views or 2,000 views on the videos and stuff and everything. I understand that's mostly the YouTube people that are, just entertaining themselves, you know, with my ugly mug and storytelling. They're not really here to learn cybersecurity or anything. They're, who knows, on their lunch break, passing the time or whatever. See my video and looks, oh, this looks interesting. But yeah, you guys are the ones that are here, to learn and everything, and that's why the discussion is only in the chat room, because you guys are the only ones that matter. Everybody else is here for the entertainment. Um, so with that, we'll see you guys tomorrow in the chat room and on the next video.